Good Monday morning to you guys. This is Bourbon N Ball. We got week 16 lineups, must-start pitchers, some sleepers. We got a little bit of everything going on this morning. You're not going to want to miss it. What's going on, guys? I am Doug, along with my friend over there, Mikey V from Clearwater, Florida. We're giving you week 16 matchups, some good hitting matchups, pitching matchups, some not so good, some sleepers, and some injury updates for some players. So let's just dive right in. It's not Monday here, but it will be Monday when this comes out. So it'll be Monday morning, something to listen to on the way to work if people are still driving to work these days. So let's just jump right in. We got week 16 pitching matchups. These are must-start matchups. These are matchups that I think are, and I will hesitate a little bit, not all rotations are set for this upcoming week. So there is a lot to be adjusted. There's a lot to take into account. But for the ones that are, these are kind of my favorites. And I'll go through each one. And then Mikey V, if you want to just rip them apart like a Band-Aid, just rip them right up. So I got Giants starting pitcher Logan Webb Friday versus the Angels. Listen, in 6 of his last 7 starts, he went at least 6 2/3, giving up 1 earned or less in 4 of them. I like this one. He is at home. It's the Angels. This one looks good. This one looks great. Guardians starting pitcher Gavin Williams Wednesday versus the Twins. He played the Twins 2 starts ago in Minnesota. 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, 2 earned with the win. Had 11 strikeouts last start versus the Pirates, which was, I believe, Saturday, right? Got the loss, but still give you 4 positive points. So the strikeouts are there. I think he's playing the Twins. He's playing them again. He's not playing them at Minnesota. He's playing them at home. This is a good start for me. Tigers starting pitcher Casey Mize. Saturday versus the Royals. 2-1 in his last 3 starts. Listen to these, right? 7 innings pitched, no earned, 10 strikeouts at the Yankees in New York. 6 2/3, 2 earned, 4K at Texas against the Rangers, and then 5 2/3, 3 earned, 5 strikeouts versus Philly at home. This is a last place Kansas City team that I think he should, if he's still there, should win. That's another thing a lot of people have to realize is some of these people could get moved. It's that time of year. And this one's going to be a fun one. I do have Red starting pitcher Hunter Green on here Saturday at the Cardinals. Now, you will notice when we start talking about must-start lineups, I do have the Cardinals as a must-start. However, this is probably one of the hard pitching matchups they're going to face for the week. This is probably going to be the toughest of them all. So, and I do like Hunter Green Saturday. He's at St. Louis against the Cardinals. God, it's the last start. 7 innings, no earned, 12 strikeouts. The win versus the Cubs. Safe to say after his rough first start, which is why I say you never want to start a guy freshly back from the IL for their first start. You give him a start to just get acclimated. And then once he does, he'll probably the training wheels usually come off, and that's exactly what happened versus the Cubs. He just dominated that. And this is a fun one. I got Tigers starting pitcher Framber Valdez. As you can see, I'm going Tigers heavy this time. Listen, right now, he should go Monday or possibly Tuesday at Chicago, and then Saturday or Sunday at home versus Royals. Last 5 starts, he's gone 2-1. Hasn't looked half bad. 6 innings pitched, no earned, 6 strikeouts at Houston. 6 innings pitched, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts versus the Yankees. 7 innings, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts at the A's to end the first half. I think he has a huge second half. On paper, this matchup looks good. I'm obviously at the Cubs. This is a tough one, but in a weekly matchup, you really got to love that last start against Kansas City and the Royals, right? Oh, I can't hear you, Mike.
Apologize. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, battling with a cold over here today too, so you got to fight with me here. But the theme with this list, though, is second half heroes, right? We're talking about Logan Webb, who we talked about, needed that break. Hunter Green, been waiting for him to come off that IL. Now he looks really sharp, right? He's going to be good. Framber Valdez, same exact thing, right? He had a really shaky first half. Man, he's looking to rebound. Maybe he needed that break too. So great matchups, all 3 of those guys. I do like Gavin Williams. Let me ask you, Doug. Gavin Williams coming into the second half, right? What are your expectations with him? Obviously, one of the better strikeout pitchers in the American League at this point. But what do you value him at right now at this point?
I think the strikeouts will be there for sure. I don't know if the innings are going to be there. I think that's the tough part. He strikes out so many guys, or he gets whacked around here and there, that there are times where that'll eat away at the innings. So I don't know if the innings will necessarily be there, but I think you're going to get what you get with him, what you have in the last 4 or 5 starts. He's not going to be as dominant as he was the first couple months, but I still think he's still a startable fantasy pitcher. Strikeouts will be there. The innings will kind of be there. The ERA will probably be what it's been, 3.5, maybe hovering around maybe a 4. He, at some point, might be a type of matchups guy you want to stream, maybe someone you don't just throw out there every week, all week, just because. But if that's the case, he's at home versus the Twins, who he just dominated last start, literally dominated. So I think you just continue to roll with him on that.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I think he's not going to go anywhere in that rotation. Strikeouts are going to be there. And he pitches for the AL Central. He should have pretty good matchups moving forward, especially down the stretch, right? And like the last guy you said too, Casey Mize. I mean, we kind of love Casey Mize on this program at this point. We have high expectations for him. I mean, great matchup against the Royals, right? Like, that's a slam dunk, don't you think?
Yeah, that Royals lineup, and now I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is day to day. He's not playing today. So that is going to really hurt that lineup. And just to kick back to the Guardians real quick, I think they'll be buyers. And I think with J-Ram coming back, that's only going to, kind of skyrocket the value for a Gavin Williams or some of those people in that rotation. So even more to hold on and to value those guys. But yeah, I think I kind of went Tigers heavy just because the Royals. They're not I mean, there's a reason why they're one of the worst teams in baseball, unfortunately. Last place in the Central. They're not going to go anywhere. Now you got Bobby Witt, who might be day to day. Well, he is day to day. I don't know for what. No one knows yet. But that could be a huge impact as well. I mean, at this point, you probably want him to just rest because you're not making the playoffs.
Yeah, it just hasn't really worked out for the Royals to this point, right? They thought Jack was going to probably be a little bit more progressed. Vinny P obviously having a disappointing year to this point, and now you got a Bobby Witt that's injured. So kind of tough going for the Royals. We'll see what the second half comes with them. And at the same time, when you see matchups like that against the Royals in the future, you might want to just go ahead and put them on top of your list moving forward, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think those are the type of matchups you're going to have to stream, especially when you're in the playoffs, right? I mean, if you got fantasy playoffs, or for some leagues are just a month away, give or take. The deadline's coming up. Another reason why to tune in Friday, because you're talking about one of the last times you could talk about selling and buying, because with the deadlines approaching in a couple of weeks, you're not going to be able to trade, right? So you're either going to be relying on streaming players and free agency or just matchups that you have at that point.
100%. And this is kind of an interesting week. We might see some stuff happen even before Friday's show.
I know. And that's exciting. So you go from pitchers to must start to maybe some tough starts. Again, and this one is Blue Jays heavy, very Blue Jays heavy, as you'll see. And there's a reason why. I mean, the matchups, they've got some really tough matchups, and they're AL East matchups. So you got Dylan Cease, Monday versus the Rays, Saturday at Boston versus the Red Sox. Listen, last 2 starts, he's looked great, but they were against the struggling Giants and just a dormant Mariners offense. Prior to that, he only went 4 2/3, gave up 4 earned versus the Rangers, 5 2/3, 2 earned versus the Astros. I just think these division games are really tough. I mean, the Red Sox are on fire. The Rays are struggling for first. They want to keep that momentum going. I mean, Dylan Cease is going to have his hands full going up against these matchups with the momentum that both these teams have. And then Mets starting pitcher Freddie Peralta. Again, he might not be with the Mets. But for now, Monday at Milwaukee against the Brewers, Sunday versus the Dodgers. Hasn't gone 5 innings in his last 3 starts. Hasn't looked terrible, though, right? 4 2/3, 1 earned, 6 Ks in Atlanta. 4 1/3, 2 earned, 6 Ks versus the Red Sox. I just don't think I'd start him against these teams. And again, there's a good chance he could be gone. So if it's a weekly league, I think I might just bench him. I think I might. It's a tough bench. And Mike, once I read through this list, I'd love to get your thoughts because you do own him. So that's always fun to hear how people want to play these guys. Then you got, again, Toronto starting pitcher Kevin Gausman. Tuesday versus the Rays, Sunday at Boston. AL matchups, grinder lineups. 0-5 in his last 8 starts. That's a stat. Losing to teams who on paper he should easily win. Giants, Mets, Rangers. Like, it's crazy. Similar to Cease. Again, division games, tough. Not to mention Blue Jays offense. Talk about Mariners. Their offense is just as bad. It's flat. So Cease, Gausman, they would have to pitch perfect to win these games because their offense is not going to bail them out. And I don't think they can. Finally, well, not finally, but moving on, Astros starting pitcher Hunter Brown, Saturday at the White Sox. Can we finally give Chicago some due respect? Can we? Listen, Hunter Brown hasn't looked bad since coming back from the IL. Hasn't looked good either. 6 innings, 2 earned, 4 strikeouts at Detroit. Not too bad. 4 innings, 6 earned, 3 against the Rays, the same Rays team that Cease and Gausman are going to be playing against. 6 innings, 3 earned, 4K against the Rangers in Texas. His walks are what's killing him. 15 walks in the last 4 games, going up against a hot White Sox team that has something to play for this late in the season. Just kind of spells upset disaster for me. And then last but not least, Yankees starting pitcher Cam Schlittler, Saturday in Philly against the Philadelphia Phillies. Yankees bats, again, they kind of fell silent, similar to the Blue Jays and the Mariners. Like, he'll have to pitch perfect to get this win, which I don't think he can do. I mean, he's definitely hitting the wall a bit. 4 innings, 6 earned versus the Tigers. He did go 8 innings, giving up 1 earned against the Rays. 6 2/3, 2 earned at the Nationals, 10.5. But the clunkers are there for him. You're starting to see them a little more frequently than you have the first half. I kind of might want to stay away from this matchup unless, who knows, maybe the Yankees go out and they do get a Luis Arias or infield hitter that a lot of people are saying that they're going to go get, a Lindor. But until then, you do got to be kind of wary of some of these offenses. And, I mean, between both my leagues, I own 4 starting pitchers from the Seattle Mariners, and I don't think I've gotten a win from any of them this week.
No, I mean, it's tough matchups, right? Like you said, the Yankees' bats have really been silent lately, especially with the run support for the pitchers. Probably really since that Minnesota series at home. I just feel like they got swept at home by them, and they really just haven't picked it up since. And that was a couple weeks ago. But let's start from the top. Like, Dylan Cease, like we talked about Gavin Williams a little bit. Dylan Cease is kind of the same category, right? Just like heavy strikeout pitcher, gets you, 5, 6, maybe 7 innings. Obviously, he had that no-hit bid a couple weeks ago. But it's the Blue Jays offense. It's really not so much about Dylan Cease. It's about really the other side of it. You kind of know what Dylan Cease is going to do. He's going to give you about 5 innings, maybe get you 10 Ks or so. But, again, against a Rays team that's been hitting the ball pretty well. Obviously, the last couple games, not so against the Sox. And then the Red Sox, same thing. I mean, they're on a 12-game winning streak as soon as, we're done recording with this. So they're cruising right now from an offensive standpoint, too. So, I don't know. Dylan Cease is kind of a risky pick. I don't think I would hate to start because he is 2-started going into the week. But still, you just got to figure expectations might be about, if you get a couple quality starts and a win in there, I think that's a pretty good week for a guy like that. Freddie Peralta. Let's talk Freddie real quick, huh? Let's talk the P-Man. Oof, man, it's really difficult to navigate him this year. It really is. As much as you want to trust him and put him in your rotation, it's just been difficult to say, yep, I'm confident in what I'm going to get out of him. So really, at this point, Doug, he's more of a depth position for me. He's just kind of there. We'll see what happens at the deadline with him. But it's just kind of a wait-and-see situation. If you said you wanted to move him, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But, again, he might get hit up in a really good situation somewhere else, and, he might find himself. And, again, bad first half. Maybe he has a better second half. He is kind of starting to showcase himself now at this point with the trade deadline coming up. Hunter Brown. Doug, are we getting worried about Hunter Brown yet?
A little bit. I don't know if I'm sold on him. I don't think I ever was sold on a Hunter Brown. I know he's your boy. I know you like him, and his numbers do look good. But I don't know, maybe it's just so much rust from that time he's missed with that injury coming back. And it's he's going up against a hot White Sox team. I mean, that's the other thing. This offense for the White Sox isn't bad. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a weird lineup because you go through it and you're like, man, Andrew Benintendi batting cleanup, Vargas. I mean, it's just a hodgepodge of players that are just there. But I like Hunter Brown. I just don't know if I like him with this matchup. The way he's pitching and the way the White Sox are playing, it's almost like a perfect storm.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think at this point, Hunter Brown is kind of a week-to-week guy until he actually shows it off, kind of like how Hunter Green did, right? He came back, he threw 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. As soon as we see that from Hunter Brown, I think right now we got to have our tempered expectations with him. Just don't know what you're going to get out of him at this point. And the same thing with Cam Slitter, too. I mean, he's going into a situation where he's going to be probably a little bit limited. And we've kind of already seen that a little bit as well, even going into the All-Star break. So going against a Phillies team this week, I don't know. I'm not about that. I would put up a red flag on that, especially the way the Phillies been hitting.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. They're all pretty tough matchups. They really are. And then let's look on the hitting side of it, right? So I think these are must-start lineups for me. And when I say must-start, you're going to start your studs, but these are some good matchups where you might go out and maybe start a couple other plays you might not have necessarily started. So let me run through these lineups real quick. You got the Giants, 3 games at Kansas City. Again, you're streaming that Kansas City team. I feel like you got to look at every game they're playing, and whoever they're playing against and whoever's pitching against them, you're starting, man, because they're just not there. They're not there, you know? So the Giants got 3 games in Kansas City against the Royals, 3 games versus the Angels at home, 5-5 in their last 10. You know, I think you forget about the NL West at this point. They're 19.5 games out. They're 10.5 out of the wild card, but they've been playing pretty decent lately, you know? Again, rotations aren't really set, but they will see a Seth Lugo. They'll see a Grayson Rodriguez who just got rocked, Ryan Johnson who just got rocked, Jose Soriano who's just there. Like, you know, he's kind of fell back down a little bit. Then you got the Cubs, 3 games at Detroit, 3 games versus Detroit at home, and then 3 games at Pittsburgh. 6-4 in their last 10, second place in the NL Central, 5 games out of first. They're up 2.5 on that first wild card spot. Just won back-to-back series against the Orioles and the Reds. Yeah, they'll see like a Framber Valdez, but they'll also see a Jack Flaherty. They'll see a struggling Paul Skeens. They'll see at this point, I'm not sure if Ashcroft will be there just because they did get rained out and then they had to shuffle the rotation. So who knows? But I do like some of the matchups. I do like the games versus the Tigers at home. And for that point, I mean the Pirates too. Next up, St. Louis. I mean, they got a 7-game. They're playing every day next week, 3 games at Los Angeles against the Angels, 1 game versus the Diamondbacks at home, and then 3 games versus the Reds. 4-6 in their last 10, third place in the Central, 8.5 games out of first, 1 game out of that last wild card spot. They just won the last series before the break against the Braves. They'll see Jose Soriano, they say Urena, they'll see Reed Detmers, Brandon Pfaadt, Lauder, Andrew Abbott, and of course Hunter Green. And like I said, I do like Hunter Green in this matchup. Honestly, you read through that list of who they're going to see, and that's the only good pitcher, or I should say great pitcher, that they'll probably see. Other than that, I mean, you're rolling with that team. And then the Nationals, 3 games at Colorado, 3 games versus the Diamondbacks, 4-6 in the last 10, 4th in the East, 8 games out of first, 4 games out of the last wild card spot. They won the series against the Astros. Then they just get swept by the Yankees. But they're going to see like Merrill Kelly, Cade Cavalli. I mean, you know, these are easily winnable matchups. They're going to be in Colorado. The ball flies out. That offense is clicking. It's weird though. You know, they go out and they on Friday score like 12 runs and then they only score 1 the next day. So it's a night and day type lineup, but they can score runs. So in Colorado, I do like that. And I had the Diamondbacks on here. And again, you're going to say, well, you just put the Nationals versus the Diamondbacks as a must start. Now you're putting the Diamondbacks versus the Nationals. Both those rotations aren't good. I think those teams are going to score runs. I mean, look at the look at the matchup with the Nationals and the A's right now. I mean, you got Tyler Soderstrom, who hit back-to-back home runs. Jacob Wilson hit a home run. Then you got the Nationals offense scoring 15 runs. It was so bad that Cortez, the outfielder, was finishing out the game for the A's. That's what I see when I look at the Nationals and Diamondbacks next week. A very similar 10-plus runs almost every game type matchup. Diamondbacks, 3 games versus the A's, 1 game at St. Louis, 3 games at the Nationals, 6-4 in their last 10. Second in the West by 11.5. 2.5 games out of first, 2.5 games out of that last wild card spot, They won 4 games in a row to end the half, splitting the series against the Padres, sweeping the Dodgers. And they're going to see Jeffrey Springs, Jack Perkins, Gage Jump, Dustin May, Zach Little. Forrest Griffin's probably the only good starter they'll see out of that. But other than that, you're rolling. You're rolling with both. I think they're going to be very high-scoring games, both the Nationals and the Diamondbacks when they play each other. It's going to be a very high-scoring series.
I think you're right. And it's a great call-out, too, with how far back the Arizona Diamondbacks are in their division and even in the wild card. They're in it. They're still in it. They're still competing. So these are good matchups for them, especially early on in the second half, for them to really get on the right foot, come right out of the gate. And like you said, the Washington Nationals, too, they've been good all year on the offensive side. I feel like whoever they played, it's going to be a benefit for the Rockies to go to Colorado and play a game over there, 3 games over there, and then play in Arizona as well, which is also a good hitter's ballpark. So great matchups there. But, man, let's talk about the Cardinals real quick, right? We're talking about Alec Burleson. We're talking about Jordan Walker. We're talking about J.J. Witherhall. We're talking about guys that have been carrying that team and now has made them a contender. I don't think that's going to stop in the second half at all. I just think they're going to continue on. I think you need to start those guys. Even Ivan Herrera, throw him in there. He's a top 10 catcher in fantasy baseball right now. I think you got to smash the play button. I think you got to smash all the play buttons for all these guys. See what they're going to do for the rest of the year. Jordan Walker is a superstar. Alec Burleson is here to stay. And J.J. Witherhall is on his way to win Rookie of the Year. I think that team is a smash. What do you think, Doug? I talk a lot Cardinals on this program. But what are your thoughts on looking at Alec Burleson?
Listen, I like the Cardinals team, a scrappy team. They remind me of like the old school Red Sox. You got your good hitters in there. Burleson's good. Ivan Herrera's, a pleasant surprise for the last couple of years. He's been an on-base machine for a catcher. J.J. Witherhall, stud. Jordan Walker, verdict still out. Again, let's see it for the full year. Someone who gives you 3 years of negative WAR and then out of nowhere is on pace for like 50 home runs. That's kind of weird to me. So I'll have to see it for the year. Look at James Wood to start the year. The guy's got 7 strikeouts in 2 games. You got to put it together for the full year. You can put it together for the full year. I'm a believer. I really am.
That's what it comes down to is the consistency part. It's the consistency part. I'm a Jordan Walker guy, Doug.
I know.
I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a Jordan Walker guy. And this is a guy that I just think he's just figured it out. I just think the first couple of years were definitely tough, and really he didn't have a lot of veteran support, to really go to or really, learn under when he got called up. There wasn't a lot there offensively. You had Nolan Arenado, right? But, is he the right guy for like a Jordan Walker? I don't know. I don't think he was. So, but he's figuring it out. I think he's figured it out. And now I think moving forward, I think we got to consider him at least a top 10 outfielder moving forward.
I don't know. Talk to me at the end of the year. You got to talk to me at the end of the year, man. That's all I'm saying. It's last year we could run down the list of people that we're going to, hey, next year this guy's a first round pick. PCA, he's a first round pick, right? James Wood, he's a first round pick. And then second half, just, Tank City.
Here we even say Corbin Carroll at this point too, just because we're talking Diamondbacks a little bit as well. Corbin Carroll lately has not been the Corbin Carroll that we're accustomed to. Is this something that a guy that peaked too early in his career, and now we're starting to see him maybe pan out to be his really true self?
That's a great question, honestly. I mean, if he keeps it up, you're talking about a guy that's going to fall to, fifth, sixth round maybe next year in drafts. You could talk about good value. I mean, hey, if he falls that low, I would still take a flyer on him. I mean, you've seen what he can do when he's going. I mean, the guy's a top 10 fantasy player regardless of position. I still think he's good. I still think he's just streaky. I've noticed he's very, very streaky. More streaky than I thought, I guess. I mean, I've owned him years past, and I don't think he was ever that streaky as he is this year.
Yeah, and when you say streaky, it's good and bad streaky. It's like really good streak, but then like strikeout streak too. Guy's not shy about strikeouts either. Yeah,
No.
He's I don't know. It's really tough nowadays to gauge a guy that's going to be good for 5-6 years. Like Soto, when he gets called up, you knew he was going to be good forever. You could just see it already in his play. But some of these other guys, it's just a little bit more difficult to get a pulse on sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, yeah, they thought the same. Harper got called up. You knew he was going to be the guy, right? I mean, I don't think I've seen that guy yet. I can't really think of anybody that I think is going to be that guy. Honestly, I do think JJ Weatherholt might be a staple in fantasy and relevant in everything to me, especially from a shortstop position. I look at him and I think that's a guy that could be very relevant, and I think he's the real deal. Honestly, when I see him.
Yeah, he's got all the tools. Looks like he could be in that lineup next 10 years, right? I think that's the goal, hopefully, for him. And in St. Louis, he got that contract extension a couple weeks ago, so they like him.
Right. All right. So let's talk some tough matchups. And man, I love those Mets. Listen to this. So they got 3 games at Milwaukee. 3 games versus the Dodgers, 4-6 in the last 10, dead last in the East, 6 games out of first, 12 games out of the last wild card spot. They split a series against the Braves, then win the series against the Royals. Obviously, the Royals are not good. We just talked about them. And then they get swept by a red-hot Red Sox team. I think the real question is, do I think the Mets can make a run? Now, it wouldn't shock me if they do. The offense is finally healthy. You had Soto, who missed almost a month early in the season. He comes back. Then Lindor is out for almost 2 months. And so there is optimism there, right? But if they do make a run, it's going to come down to starting pitching. And by the looks of things, Freddie Peralta, Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, they're just not going to cut it. Nolan McLean, Christian Scott, they've been up and down. I do think they'll develop into great major league starting pitchers, but they need quality arms. Even the bullpen looks rough. I mean, can we agree that the Gavin Williams experience should be over? The guy's got a 4.83 ERA, and he looks absolutely lost in that closer's role on that mound in New York. Like I said, it wouldn't shock me if they do make a run because they have talent. The talent is there. But more likely than it's more likely that it's just not going to happen unless these issues get addressed sooner rather than later. This Mets team it's an all sell. You're not going to see anything out of that. Next up, we got Baltimore Orioles. 3 games at Boston, 3 games versus the Braves at home. 7-3 the last 10. 4th place in the AL East. 11.5 games out of first there. 2 games out of that last wild card spot. They did win the series against the Reds. Then they lose the series to the Cubs. But then swept the Royals, winning 4 games in a row before the break. On top of that, though, again, they're playing a hot Boston team. They're going to see Jake Bennett. They're going to see Grant Holmes from the Braves. They might even see Chris Sale in there. They're pretty tough matchups. I mean, the fun thing about the second half of the year is a lot of these teams will see a lot of divisional rivals, and that makes it really tough for pitchers and for lineups because divisional rivals play. It's a different game. You could be hot, and then out of nowhere, you're playing the Yankees, and it could just be crushed. You can just get crushed. And that's why I put Toronto up here. Again, 4 games versus the Rays, 3 games at Boston, 5-5 in their last 10. Now they're dead last in the East. Remember when they were in first place in the East the first month of the year? Still 2.5 games out of the last wild card spot. They just lost the series to the Mariners, who, God, the Mariners are worse than they are. Then they win the series against the Giants before losing the last series of the first half to the Padres. They're going to see Drew Rossman. They're going to see Nick Martinez. They're going to see Sonny Gray. I mean, they're going to see some tough pitchers. So I'm very hesitant if I have any of those guys in the lineup to start some of them. Padres, 4 games at Atlanta, 3 games at the Marlins. You got to give Miami some credit here, right? 5-5 in the last 10, third place in the NL West, 12.5 games out of first there, 3.5 out of the wild card spot. They did split the series against the D-backs. Then they win the series against the Blue Jays. But they're going to see Chris Sale. They're going to see Yuri Perez. They're going to see Max Meyer. They're going to see some really tough pitchers. So, again, the hesitation is there to start a lot of these guys. And then last but not least, I know we talked about the Phillies, but 3 games versus the Dodgers, 3 games versus the Yankees, 5-5 in the last 10, 2 games out of first in the East, 2 games up on that second wild card spot. They lose a series to Kansas City. They lost to the Royals. Then they win against the Reds. And then they beat the Tigers to close out the first half. But they're going to see Ohtani. They're going to see Emmett Sheehan, who looked pretty decent. Justin Roblowski, he looks good. They'll see Will Warren. They'll see Garrett Cole. They're going to see some pretty good pitching. So if they're going in cold and those bats are cold, this is not the week to be cold. They need to get hot quick if they want to win some of these games.
100%. I mean, man, Phillies, Dodgers, and Yankees, it sounds bad on paper. But you know what? I'm okay with starting the Harpers of the world. I'm okay with starting even like a Trey Turner. I mean, I feel like he's been on a tear lately as well a little bit. But those guys I feel like are okay. But the rest of the team, though, like Brandon Marsh, who's settled down a little bit since his start of the season, you know, you can evaluate these guys, I think, on a week-to-week basis now. But let's start from the top. I mean, the Mets, right? I mean, we've been waiting for the Mets to turn it around or do something. And it just hasn't been like that this year at all for them. I mean, they had a tough loss against the Royals this week where they blew a pretty big lead. And, you know, that's just kind of sums up the season for them at this point. So against the Brewers, against the Dodgers, 2 competitive teams, obviously, 2 of the best in the National League. Yikes. That's tough. Of course, you're going to start your Sotos of the world. But, you know, do you have a better option than Bo Bichette out there? Do you have a better option than Carson Benz, even though he's been playing pretty good? It's just tough matchups. So if you got other options, you might want to look elsewhere. Same thing with Baltimore, too. Baltimore has not put it together. I just feel like I've been waiting for them to do something and make a run and make a push with their young kids, but really hasn't come to fruition yet at this point. So against Boston, against the Braves, like you said, a Sonny Gray, you got a Chris Sale potentially in there as well. Those are tough matchups. And then, like you said, Jake Bennett, shout out Jake Bennett, just kind of doing his thing in Boston lately. I mean, Toronto, same exact thing. It's just kind of been up and down with that offense to this point. So it's just, again, like Vlad Guerrero just not showing off the power. Clemente has been pretty good, but still just not going to be able to carry that whole entire offense. George Springer definitely taking a step back this year. You know, again, Rays, Boston, 2 tough teams that have 2 great rotations. So, yeah, really tough matchups across the board there. Same thing with the Padres as well. Just tough matchups.
Right. So let's talk about some IL, maybe stashers, people that hit the IL you might want to hold on to for a little while. I do have some updates on some, but first let me tell you some recent IL hits. Athletics first baseman Nick Kurtz, he's on the 10-day IL with that right thumb sprain. He should be back at the start of this week, but that's something you'll have to monitor. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring him back maybe midweek just to give him that extra time. Red Sox starting pitcher Ranger Suarez was placed on the 15-day IL with that left groin strain. He's a late June return. That still looks to be in play. So late June, the end of this month. Brewers starting pitcher Kyle Harrison, he was on the 15-day IL with that left forearm tightness. I guess he's been dealing with this for the last few starts, which will explain the not so good numbers. 2 2/3, 3 earned at the Diamondbacks, 4 innings, 3 earned at the Cardinals. He looks like an early August return more than not. And then finally, this one's really tough. Pirates shortstop Connor Griffin, 60-day IL with that torn tendon in his left ring finger. He's looking at like an 8 to 10 week timeline, which would be mid-September, which means in the world of fantasy, that's not really relevant. So you could probably just draft him unless you're in a keeper league or a dynasty league or whatever, but if it's a redraft at this point, yeah, you could probably just drop the Griff.
Drop the Griff, man. It is what it is. Think long-term, right? Only 19 years old. He's going to be fine. You got to think long-term with him, especially in dynasty leagues. This year, yes, it was great that he got the exposure. We saw what he could do, stole bases. It was pretty good average as well. Pretty good for a daily league guy, to be honest with you, Doug. But yeah, it's unfortunate that probably his season's going to be over. And, yeah, I mean, we're really excited about him. We're going to not forget about him next year in drafts. We're definitely going to have him circled for sure.
Right. So you go from that to, let's talk about some streamers here, right? People you might be able to pick up and plug in to fill some of those holes for some of those guys that hit the IL. So first and foremost, I have hitters. And we were talking about Diamondbacks third baseman Nolan Arenado. Listen, 15% owned, 15.3. He's playing all 7, 3 games versus the A's at home, 1 game at St. Louis, 3 games at Washington. His last 7 games, he's hit 353, 2 homers, 6 runs. He's giving you 21 points, 4.2 a start. That Diamondbacks team is, like Mike said, they're still in the thick of this. And I think Arenado's not really going to go anywhere. I think he's going to stay, and he's been putting up some pretty decent numbers lately. Again, Giants outfielder Heliot Ramos, 14% owned, 3 games at Kansas City, 3 games versus the Angels at home. He's averaging 2 points for the entire year, which is pretty decent, pretty startable. So in these matchups, Royals, Angels, I would kind of pick them up and throw them in those lineups. And then last but not least, for the hitter side of this, Nationals first base, third baseman Curtis Mead, 11% owned. 3 games at the Rockies in Colorado, 3 games against the Diamondbacks at home. 333, 2 homers, 15 points in the last 5. On the year, he's giving you 2.5 a start, 17 homers, 44 ribbies, 42 runs, and 5 stolen bases. Not too bad. I think all of these guys, I like Curtis Mead more than all, but they're all, to me, pretty good matchups for each of these guys.
Yeah, we talked about Curtis Med probably, maybe a week or 2 ago? Maybe it was on the show, maybe it was offline. But we're talking about guys that were highly talented prospects that go to different areas just because they needed to change of scenery. Curtis Med was exactly that. He left Tampa, now he's with Washington. He's getting the playing time, no pressure, and the power is showing off. He could be a potential 30 home run guy in the future for sure. But yeah, I think the cat's out of the bag with him. I think he's going to be here to stay. Hey, Ramos, we know about Ramos. He's been around the block. Very streaky guy. Again, great matchups. It's a showcase as well, playing for the Giants. You don't know what they're going to do with the deadline. So all these guys want to perform well. Great matchup. Great steal right there. Nolan Arenado, still kicking around, doing his thing, right? Just trying to make his way. And like you said, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to stay just right there. I think it's a good place for him anyway. But yeah, again, injuries happen. Third base has been a tough position to fill. We talk about the Jose Ramirez injury. Raquel Garcia has been hurt for a little bit now, having a little down year for himself. So you're going to have to explore and get other options out there to see what's out there.
Yeah. Yep. So then on the pitching side, boom, there they are. Look at that. It's all red. It's like a murder's row right there. Man, I don't know if I would call some of these guys sleepers because they've been pitching pretty decently, right? I mean, Cardinals starting pitcher Mike McGreevy, 21% owned. He's playing Wednesday against the Angels. His last 4 starts have been 4 quality starts, but he's only 1-1, and that's more in the offense, really. I mean, 6 innings, no earned versus Miami, 6 innings, 2 earned at Atlanta, 6 1/3, 1 earned versus the Brewers, 6 1/3, 1 earned at Arizona against the Diamondbacks. I mean, those are pretty good numbers in the last 4. I think that continues with the Angels. Next up, Red starting pitcher Brady Singer, 8 2/3, 8% owned, excuse me. I'm so used to reading innings right now on this thing. Numbers are just starting to like blur. And 8% owned Wednesday against Seattle at Seattle. I mean, we talked about this Mariners offense. They're not scary. They're not doing anything right now. Unless they get a bat before Brady Singer pitches against them, I would probably start Brady Singer. His last 2 starts, 7 innings, 2 earned, 6 strikeouts at Colorado, and then 7 1/3. 1 earned, 5 strikeouts versus the Phillies. So not too bad. I mean, obviously the Colorado start it's Colorado, but it was in Colorado. And then the Phillies, he looked really good. I think the momentum continues. I mean, like I said, that Seattle roster that offense is just dormant. It really is. And then last but not least, National starting pitcher Cade Cavalli, 18% owned. Wednesday at Colorado, 2-0 his last 5 starts. Listen to these. You want to talk about playing up to your potential against playoff teams? 6 innings, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts versus the Phillies at home. 7 innings, no earned, 13 strikeouts at Boston. 6 innings, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts versus the Yankees. 6 innings, 2 earned, 9 strikeouts at the A's in Sacramento. Now, he does have a rough start against the Pirates sandwiched in between those 4. He only went 2 1/3. He only gave up 3 earned, 1 strikeout, got a no decision. But going up against a Rockies team, you know he can win. He looks good. The strikeouts have been there the last 5 starts. I actually I like him. He's kind of reminds me of like a Sean Burke, like someone you could just pick up, not a lot owned, but still has some sneaky stuff in there to get you the strikeouts and the win.
Yeah, I like Cade a lot, Doug. I think this guy's kind of been under the radar a little bit this year. I think he's doesn't really get his due, I feel. But lately, like you said, he's been on fire for that Washington rotation. And I don't think that's going to end anytime soon, even after this week, right? If he's playing against the Rockies on a Wednesday, most likely not, he's going to be a 2-starter going into next week. So we're probably going to be talking about him again potentially going into the week after. But I do love Cade. Michael McGarvey here. I mean, man, he's been doing it all year. Kind of just one of those guys that kind of just goes 6 innings, 2, 3 Ks, 4 Ks, gets you the quality, gets you a chance to get the win. I mean, I just feel like he's been doing that year in, year out. I feel like the last couple of years with them, really kind of just been a staple in their rotation. And then Brady Singer, like you said, Doug, the Cincinnati Reds do not score a lot of runs, I feel like, lately, and been losing a lot of baseball games. But Brady Singer in his own right has been doing all right for himself. Maybe he's trying to showcase himself to potentially get moved. I can see him potentially getting traded as well. So, again, the theme for me this week, Doug, is guys that are potentially on the move, on the block, that are going to have to showcase themselves if they do want to be moved.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's funny, you're talking and I'm looking at the this Cam Slittler start against the Dodgers, and yeah, he's got 5 strikeouts in 2 1/3. He's also got 61 pitches and gave up a run already. So, yeah, it might be a short day for him.
Yeah, that's what's been going on lately with him. He's been going
a lot of pitches.
Too deep in these innings.
Yep. So let's give some updates and set you on your way for this week, right? Red Sox signing pitcher Garrett Crochet. He's been playing catch with a weighted baseball. Still hasn't started a throwing program at this pace. A late August, early September return might be a pipe dream. Who knows at this point? Yankees outfielder DH Aaron Judge, latest MRI this past Friday, showed some healing, but his ribs are still not 100%. It sounds like an early to mid-August return would be more than likely. So probably another month. Yankees starting pitcher Max Fried, some good stuff, though, for the Yankees. Made his first rehab start Friday, threw 52 pitches, allowing 2 runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, topping out at 95.4. The Yankees said he'll make at least 2 rehab starts before a decision will be made on his activation. So he's already made 1. They're going to say he's going to make 1 more. I'm going to say he'll probably need 3 just to reach that 75 to 80 pitch threshold a lot of these teams like to see these starting pitchers reach. Guardians third base DH Jose Ramirez, he's been cleared to pick up a bat and could be activated by the end of this month if all goes to plan. Braves outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr., he's begun a rehab assignment and will more than likely be back by the end of the team's homestand on July 23rd. So by the end of the week. Dodgers starting pitcher Blake Snell had his first rehab start Saturday. He'll likely need 4 to 5 more to reach, again, 5 innings, 75 pitches is what they're going with before being activated. But early August looks to be on the mound for his return. And then last but not least, again, we're staying in LA with the Dodgers. Starting pitcher Tyler Glasnow. He's been cleared to begin a throwing program. Still no timetable, but you could see him back in time for fantasy playoffs. So mid-August could be a return for him. Again, talk about doing things right with the Dodgers. Just, we don't need our starting pitcher until later in the year. You guys can take the first 3 quarters of the season off.
Doug, we've been talking about that for years. We just know the rich get richer. They don't have to wait and get them back into that rotation right away. They can just hang out and just wait until the very end until they actually need them. Can't say that for the Red Sox, though, with Garrett Crochet. That is just bizarre. Every year there's a bizarre injury. Unfortunately, it's with the Red Sox with both Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony, for that matter. Just kind of MIA. Not a lot of updates. Don't really know what's going on. And I feel like originally the IL stints were 2 completely different injuries until what they are right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The Red Sox at first were probably like, let's take our time. We're so far out. We don't need them. And now they're like, maybe we should pick up the pace a little bit with this because we could use them. The only good thing is you do have Ranger Suarez coming back, so at least you'll still have a good starter. And the people that have been picking up the slack, the Bennett's of the world, the Tolleys of the world, they've been doing pretty good in that spot. So maybe don't rock the boat. Let things happen as they happen. Don't push him to into that rotation sooner than he needs to be, I guess. You're doing good now. You've won 12 games without him. What's another 12 more or so? You know what I mean? Like, take the time.
Yeah, I mean, they got rags of riches of pitching. You're absolutely right. They don't have to rush them.
Right. All right, man. Well, that was it. That was fun. Hopefully you guys got the info to make your lineups and your pitching rotations for this upcoming week. Good to go, ready to win. Man, for Mikey V, I'm Doug. This is Bourbon N Ball. We're going to be here Friday live talking about some of the hottest hitters, some of the coldest hitters, some good buy, sell hitters and pitchers. That might be the last week we do that with the trade deadline coming and approaching. But, yeah, man, have a fun week. Good luck. Hopefully you won this week. And it continues. Playoffs next month. That's going to be interesting and fun to talk about. Man, it just feels like it just happened overnight.
It really has. And we're in the crunch of it. We're in it. We're in it right now. This is the season.
Oh, and Freddie Freeman brought home a run. So Cam Slittler now has 70 pitches, 2 2/3, 5 strikeouts, and gave up 2 earned.
Doesn't look good.
They're going to want Max Fried back much sooner. So maybe he is only going to go 2 rehab starts.
Hey, if you can do 2 rehabs and not worry about the pitch count and first couple outings he can kind of survive it, maybe that's the route. Yeah,
I think that's what they might do. We'll see. I've seen crazier things done. But all right, guys. So hopefully we'll see you here live again Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bring a drink, come in, leave some messages on the chat, all that fun stuff. And for Bourbon N Ball, I'm Doug. That's Mikey V. We'll see you Friday.